former banker, and for the last 5 years, I have been a financial coach, trainer, and writer. Writing happened to be a hobby, and then blogging was necessitated because of the freelancing of startup avenue that I was in. So whatever I will be sharing here is not from textbooks, that comes from my personal experience. And that should be apt for a beginner. Now, we are not talking about Neil Patel here with that number of followers you have and all, because most of us feel that we cannot reach that state so easily. So whatever I talk here is about a beginner, as I was a beginner 5 years back, and each of us can follow those steps to reach wherever. So just to start with a small question, what has changed in the sphere of communication in the last 10 years? I'm seeing the chat box. You can type. I'm not talking about the last 8 months because all of us are so focused on the last 8 months experience. What has changed in the last 10 years? I hope some of us here are old enough to remember how we communicated before 10 years. Yeah, I can see Dr. Vaishali typing something. Letters, mobile, more professional. Yes, John. So do you think we were less professional without the devices? Digital media?
Digital platforms have elaborated a lot.
Yes, it was more elaborate and detailed. Digital, no,
So,
ease of accessibility, certainly.
for my observation, our communication has become more informal also. Earlier, if I have to speak, I would be so concerned. These days, I'm more confident because I see so many videos, people are speaking in any way, like so casual, even in a funny way. So that makes me feel like everything is acceptable, something. It has given me a boost.
We become more relaxed, and that is also due to a generational gap. The next generation is more casual than what we were. If you talk about, just like Sapna is an image consultant, if she was talking about professional dressing, you go to the IT sector and you go to the banking sector, and there's a wide difference there. With that, things are getting casual, agreed. And also with the language we use online, all that has changed. I'll start sharing my screen here. And I may not be seeing chat at the same time, but off and on I'll come back here and check. Otherwise, I'll address questions at the end of the thinking. Suju, I hope you have authorized me to share the screen. Yes, is the screen visible?
Yeah.
Okay, so what has changed in the sphere of communication? And this is what I have to say on the subject. Of course, it's just a summary of what all of you said. We are totally digital beings. Social media rules all interactions. Now, all your declarations, it doesn't really matter if you got that invitation card to a wedding or something or not, because somebody has come on Facebook and declared, we are engaged and this is happening and that's happening. Mobiles are used. I think mobiles is almost 80 to 90% of communication, and it's used more than laptops. So all our websites and other things have to be optimized to look good on a mobile screen. We scan and scroll more than read. How many of you agree with this? No, I guess the older generation or most of us, it may not be a very welcome development, but this is happening. Most of the time on our devices, we are scrolling down, watching the headlines, just absorbing a gist of whatever we see that. We rarely take the time to read a full-length article of 1,000 or 2,000 words. We use emojis or abbreviated versions. Now, there's a limitation to using this. It's okay in casual conversation. But yes, there are ways these can be incorporated on other platforms too. As Sapna already mentioned, the attention span is now lower than that of a goldfish. It's actually 7 seconds. The attention span of a goldfish is supposed to be 8. And over the last 3 years, I hear that it has gone below 7 seconds. So the 3 seconds that she mentioned may be right. So how much and how should you say whatever you have to say within those few seconds where you can catch the attention of the other person? If you have caught the attention, maybe then you have invited that person to interact more and know about you. But it is all about that first impression which Sapna was talking about. You have to catch that impression in the first few seconds. Now, these are the platforms which by and large we will discuss. There are many more, but then every platform is not conducive to writing, and every platform is not suitable to everyone. So what we talk about here, where we spend most of our time is LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Quora, Twitter, and YouTube. Now, this Koo is an app which is going to be a Twitter-like app in local languages, vernaculars. And this has found a mention in the Prime Minister's address. So you know the kind of importance which is being given to these kind of platforms. If people are not savvy in English and all, but they should have some platform to express their views anywhere. So there are more and more startups and such developments we expect happening in the next, I won't say even 10 years, maybe in the next 3 years, we are going to see a kind of revolution there. So a personal brand has been talked about widely since yesterday. And as somebody already mentioned in yesterday's session was, a personal brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room. But how do people in the room know about you? Now, we are about 25 to 30 people in this room, and since yesterday, some of you have spoken, introduced yourselves, participated in some manner. So I know you, but I may not know the other silent ones who certainly have strong personalities, but they have to make their presence felt in some way. Now, we are talking about social media platforms here, not exactly this Zoom room. So what happens on a social media platform? How you look? Sapna has explained that. Okay, what you say, whatever you post on social media. So, and how you behave. What you post is your comments, reactions, shares, whatever, everything says something about you. Starting from your picture to the way you, is your comment very rude, or are you only complimenting people? Are you adding value to somebody else's article, or are you just putting as a, oh, great, excellent, something like that? What kind of emojis do you use? What kind of content do you share? It's all important. Everything matters. And yet, this is not enough. You need to be accepted as a thought leader if you are establishing a consultancy, a business, a freelance practice, a startup, or whatever, for whatever purpose you are on social media for. Thought leader is somebody who leads, somebody who adds value to other people. So there are many other people who are just sharing views. They are trolling on others, posting emojis, but they are lastly the kind of profiles we would like to block or mute. We don't want them. And we don't want to be there. We have to be there in a very positive light to be accepted as a thought leader. So how exactly do you gain these thought leadership fighting all the algorithms of social media platforms? And why are we talking about microblogging today? Why not blogging? And what exactly is the difference between a blog and a microblog? So first, let us talk about what is a blog. A blog is generally an article of minimum 700 words in length. It can go up to 2000. Blogs are these are called long form blogs, and these are highly eulogized by SEO experts, because if you check the search engine, your first or second page of Google search, the articles that rank higher, the articles that really come up there are the long form articles. Why? Because those web crawlers, those search engines have got certain things called crawlers. They have got more space to get into your article, catch the keywords and bring it up. The scope is higher, so they are high. But at the same time, we need a certain kind of platform to write a blog, and we are fighting this thing called lowered attention span. So coming high on a search engine is one part, being found on Google, and catching the attention of the people who are lurking around on social media all the time and interacting with them is another part. So I will not compare the two. Microblogging and blogging are two different subjects. Ideally, you can do both if you are good. Even if you are not, just microblogging can be enough. And blogs, where do you write blogs? Blogs are written on your own website. Now, this is a place where you have total control on. It's your space. So you decide how to format it, which blog will be seen high on the feed, which is going down, what kind of pictures, delete whatever you don't like, modify it, delete the comments, delete spam. It's totally in your control. But at the same time, all of us who are beginning may not have our own website. So then the next option is guest blogs on other sites. Now these sites need to be chosen carefully. Guest blogs are something if I invite any of you to come and write a blog on my platform. The normal procedure which I follow for that, now so far I have written on around 15 to 20 online platforms. And yesterday somebody mentioned that, have you searched your name on Google? So this is a practice I regularly follow. What I do is I search my own name on Google and I see which articles are showing on the first 2 pages. So those pages are the ones which have got a higher SEO ranking, because that platform has got a higher SEO ranking. So I would prefer to share more, write more blogs, or even comment more, or do those on the platforms which are appearing in the first 2 pages of a Google feed. Then blogging platforms, if you don't want your own website, yet you want to have your own blog, which you can own, there are platforms which most of you know about: WordPress, Blogspot, Medium. Others, Medium is now a paid platform. Blogspot is something I used for a very short time. The limitation I found 4 years back was there were no communities there. Whereas Quora and WordPress and all, you can build communities which regularly interact with each other. And that really gives a lot of boost to your blogging or microblogging, whatever you are doing there. But at the same time, when you are on some other platform, you are controlled by the algorithms. Now, in the very simple definition, algorithm is a software which decides what do you see on your feed today. Whether you open Google on your mobile, or you open your Facebook account or LinkedIn account, everybody is not seeing everything there. It is customized to what you normally see, what you normally like or engage in or whatever. But these algorithms decide on what is going to come up. And since platforms keep changing their algorithms, just like Google, LinkedIn has done it, which has affected many people in a single shot. When Microsoft took over, they changed the algorithm. So you really have to keep in touch with them, stay updated on that. What is the algorithm doing and how do you match up your writing in a way that you can still come up despite the changes in the algorithm. Now, LinkedIn articles is a very classic case of this. I don't remember the exact year when Microsoft took over, but I think it was 16 or 17. Can somebody enlighten me on that? LinkedIn was taken over from Jeff Weiner to Microsoft. So I have written around 100 articles before the takeover. Over there, there was a really nice community with a lot of engagement. And then suddenly the LinkedIn algorithm changed, and LinkedIn articles is not a favored platform unless you happen to be an influencer. Influencers are the profiles where you see that blue eye and square in front of their name. And that status is given to people by LinkedIn. So those are the topmost privileged community. If you happen to be an influencer, then of course your articles are seen, your articles get a lot of views because they are going in a number of digests, and LinkedIn has a number of ways of presenting data to people. So you are featuring, you are basically being featured by LinkedIn, but all of us may not be lucky enough to be there. So I'll just share my journey with you, what exactly happened in the course of my 100 plus 101 or whatever articles there. If you can see the left side of the screen, this is October 22, 2016. At that time, my followers were just about 2K or maybe less, I don't remember exactly. The subject of this article was emerging trends in poetry. Now, poetry is not a business-like subject. And some people might even say that this is not an apt subject for LinkedIn. But there are some communities on LinkedIn which cater to writers and poets and other things. But otherwise, not a LinkedIn subject. Despite that, this got 675 views from 2,000 followers. So you can say a little more than 30%. Now, this is the kind of viewership you don't get on a Facebook page or anything else. 30% is considered quite high. In that, Yet because of that, communities that were built there, it happened. You can see the engagement also, whatever is visible. 3 years, 1 month later, 37 months, November 21, 2019. The subject is very business-like, financial coach, very apt for a LinkedIn article. But now see what happened to the viewership. 17 views, 1 like. That means practically LinkedIn is not circulating articles. So there was no point in writing here. This happens to be the last article that I wrote on LinkedIn. And that too after a gap of 8 months or 10 months or something like that. And then I stopped. I had actually stopped a year earlier before that. This happens to be the last one. So what is the other option? If not articles, then you see a red circle out here, which shows posts. Posts is what you are reading every day in your feed when you open LinkedIn. So now how do you write here? There are again a lot of rules and regulations that LinkedIn has. I have just taken screenshots and I'm showing you here, and it will make some points. I'm showing you a post I made 3 months ago. Now the condition that LinkedIn lays is whatever you write in a post has got to be 1300 characters. Characters including the spaces, commas, whatever punctuation marks you are using there, including the hashtags. Even hashtags are not spelled. Everything has to fit in 1300 characters. So whatever you have to say has to be within this limit. So the very first rule is don't write directly on the platform. Write on a Microsoft Word document, which on the top, it gives you the number of words and spaces and characters there. So you know exactly what you are putting in. Otherwise, this starts flashing a message saying you have exceeded the number of characters which the platform allows. You can post a picture along with this, but not necessary because opinions differ on that. Some people say a picture slows down circulation. Some people think it attracts attention. If it is a very good picture, it certainly attracts attention. So now see the games that you have to play when you have to say something within a limit of 1300 characters. Now what I have done here is I have incorporated hashtags within the blog. So it's not counting separate. Of course, there are 2 more hashtags I have used here. And recently what I learned was ideally do not use more than 2 or 3 because again, LinkedIn discourages that. But in case you have to use more, try and incorporate them somewhere within your post. So what you are adding there is only 1 character, the hashtag. And otherwise you remain within the limits there. Now again, LinkedIn does not encourage links. If you provide a link to anything, it could be somebody else's post, a YouTube article, your own blog on some other things, the views and engagement you will get is much, much lower than what you get on a normal LinkedIn post. Now this is a microblog. It's nothing but a microblog because you are saying whatever you have to say in very few words out here. So in case you have to post a link, you put it in the comment section. Links in the comment section do not slow down circulation. And somewhere in your post, you can say, look for the link in comments. So it's a common trick being used. LinkedIn will soon find some way to get over that. But so far, yes, it's working. You can put your link down there. Now, this is a post in a Facebook group. Again, it is a microblog. Facebook groups or Facebook does not have any limit on the number of characters, but yet the gist of whatever you have to say has to appear above these 3 dots that you are seeing here. See more. Because everybody is not going to click on this link. As we said, we are only scanning or scrolling down. So the main subject matter, whatever you have to say, has to appear here. If it is interesting enough, somebody will click on see more or they may not. Yes, you can afford to write a long one. And LinkedIn is now introduced Facebook has introduced Facebook articles where you can read a whole article within Facebook without going to another platform. So nobody likes links which take a viewer to another platform. They don't like that diversion of traffic. It increases their cost in some manner. So whatever you have to say comes here. You can use hashtags here. You see a picture here because this was a day before Bhai Tej. Attractive pictures work very well on Facebook, so use them along with your blogs. It helps speed up the circulation. So is it okay to share links? As I already said this, links are not encouraged. So this is a way we have to find around. Yet when Facebook is bringing Facebook articles, you have the privilege of having your full article read there. If somebody has the attention span, if you have written a short story or a 2000 word knowledge blog on something, people can read it entirely on Facebook. So you get your followers, you get your engagement, but you don't get those hits on your website. So far, what happens when we post a link, the traffic from there is coming to our website. That is not going to happen with Facebook articles. So another way we find to do around that, since links are not discouraged, is now see what I have done here. There is a picture here where I have put up the headlines of whatever I have to say on my website. Something just to catch attention. This can be more attractive. This is a very simple one done on a mobile app. It can be better than this. So you do this and here I write, click on the link below to read. And the link is given here in the comment section. So from here, a person who has interest in any of these subjects will click on this link and then this person goes on my website. Now, what is happening on my website? Everybody doesn't have to do this. I'm just sharing this with you. Now, this is a page where I just curate the articles in personal finance that are published in a day. Maybe I just select 4 or 5 in a day, which are the top ones, which may be of interest to people, and share it on a particular page. Now, what is being done here on the left side, the headline that you see is the headline of the news item, whatever it was, Financial Express, Economic Times, or wherever I have taken it from. And there is a link given here, click here to read more. So from the person who is interested can go to that particular platform and read. This is just a curated information that he or she is receiving here. Now what I do above this is, now this is not a copy paste. Whatever is written here are my views and my take on the subject. So this becomes a kind of microblog. And if the summary is good enough, there are some people who will just be happy scrolling down here and they may not actually go to that other platform to read the news item. So it depends on the preference of the viewer, and yet I am getting my page hits. Next, vlogging. Now, vlogging has been extensively discussed. It is not only YouTube, all the lives that you do that we see every day on our social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, everything is a video format. So video engagement has increased vastly in the last a few years, I can say 1 or 2 years, and this is supposed to be the content of the future. Now, everybody may not be comfortable with video, like even I was not till last year, but then there is no option. One has to come on this format and do whatever you can do. Whether you want your face to show or you just want to content to show, that is entirely your choice. You can pre-record a video and post it on any of these platforms. There are limitations, like Instagram will show a video of 1 minute, and if it is a longer one, then you have to go on Reels. So everybody may click or may not click over there. And all these Zoom sessions that we do, they can be connected to live at the same time. So it would be, maybe Suju is already doing that. It will be being webcast live on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. So this is something that I think trainers and coaches and speakers should not miss. Do a live session once in a while, whatever you have to say. And okay, if it is really extensive, you're giving a lot of knowledge on one subject, then it goes on for 30 minutes to 1 hour. Ideally, say whatever you have to say in 15-20 minutes, because there are a lot of distractions on these sites. A person is in a hurry to move on to the next spot or post or whatever over there. But the charm of a live session is there are people around. You can start promoting this before you are doing that live session, a week before, 3 or 4 days before, because there is live engagement. There are people asking questions. You are welcoming people, talking to people, answering those questions. So that engagement makes a lot of difference to the final circulation of the post. The people who come there, they like something, comment something. If a pre-recorded video is posted there, you have got no control on that. You don't know how many people will comment, what will happen and all, how you have answered the question. So there is more control on a live. The disadvantage of live is, I guess most of the platforms don't allow you to download it. It can be shared. It can be shared on WhatsApp or other platforms, but it cannot be downloaded. So if you need a download and you want to use those video clips elsewhere, then might as well do it on Zoom or some other session and then let it go live on other platforms. So you have got your recorded video, which can be used in other places. And at the same time, you have got the charm of a live session. Twitter is the next platform. Now, most of you know that the word limit there is 280 characters. And most of you wonder, after all, it is micro, this is a less than micro. Nano blogging, you can say. What can you say in 280 characters? But if you see this here, I have put a short poem in 232 characters. So after 232, there is still space to incorporate 2 more hashtags. And it will still be in the limits of 280 characters. So yes, it is possible to share on Twitter. Twitter, you have to decide on the format. How are you going to put things? Because Twitter luckily does not count the spaces in between. It allows for all this. Only the number of characters, including your alphabets and punctuation marks, have to be 280 maximum out there. Still, you think this is difficult? I cannot say whatever I have to say in 232 characters. Of course, a video is the final thing, which always works well anywhere. The next is an image with text on it. So what do you do here? You write whatever you have to write on an image and you post it. Now, the number of characters in an image cannot be counted. So this just goes on a picture. It is circulated as a picture post, and yet you have used the number of words that you needed practically. But other than Twitter, most of the platforms do not encourage text heavy posts, whether it is Facebook or LinkedIn. Facebook ads just don't accept anything which has got more than 20% of text on it. So ideally if the number of words is too many, use it only on Twitter, don't use on others. Now, how to make these images? Canva is what most of you know. I saw that in the comment section. It may take some time to learn Canva if you are a total newcomer to it. There are a number of picture creator apps on your mobile. You can just download them. There are many of them which are free. So they give you a background. They give you some images which you can insert. They give you a scope to put text. Then you change the colors, whatever, the same like filters we use on Instagram and other things. And your post is ready there for circulation. From there, you can go on posting on whichever platform you want to. If you don't want to do even that, the simplest form which I used when I was a beginner, before I learned Canva, I did not know anything about Canva at that point of time. So I would just do a PowerPoint slide, save it as JPEG. And then you need to optimize those JPEG because those images are heavy. So you ideally optimize it for web. There is an option which comes that optimize it for web content. So it reduces the size of the image, because most of the platforms will not encourage heavy images. Your post slows down with it. So optimize it for the size. Then another thing that shows the quality of a good image is DPI. So 300 DPI is considered to be good. Changing it is not difficult because there are online free platforms available where you can change the DPI. So whatever DPI it is, it would have something, and you can say change to 300 DPI or wherever you feel your image is looking good. Save it, and then it is ready to be posted wherever you need to put it. The next platform we talk about is Quora. Now, I don't know how many of you are there on Quora, but I always keep this for the last because I count it as a very, very powerful platform. Quora. the number of followers you can get, and there are a lot of young people hanging around there. So for most of us, that is the target audience. So you get all those young people on Quora. Quora happens to be a question and answer platform where, of course, you have to answer questions which are already posted there, and that becomes your space to project yourself as an expert or a thought leader. But the limitation is at times you may find the questions very silly. So everybody knows you cannot question the caliber of people who are coming there. So Quora also gives you the options of posting a question on your own and then answering it. And then there are Quora blogs, which I guess they have removed now. It used to be there, and now they have introduced something called Quora Spaces, which is a very, very powerful platform. Quora Spaces is nothing but a group. It is just like a Facebook group or a LinkedIn group where people come and post their things and you can go there and read whatever. I'll show you my group out there. Over a period of 1 year, if you can read that very small font out there, I have got 42,000 followers. Now, this would be a tough battle to handle on any other platform. Whether it is LinkedIn or Facebook or anything. Facebook, of course, does not allow more than 5,000 on your main profile. But even on LinkedIn has got a limit of 30,000. But getting 42,000 is not easy. If you go and scan other spaces, there are spaces which have got lakhs of followers. So not that this is a very good one. This is a very somewhere around mediocre thing out there. So as I said, whatever I talk about is meant for beginners. But still, I consider 42K to be a good followership. And the view rate, as I go and check in the analytics, sometimes it comes close to 30 to 40%, which is good enough. Now see the kind of views you can get. Now what's happening on Facebook and LinkedIn is, as people keep scrolling down, after a certain period, your post has been relegated to the underground, to a graveyard, where it's not easy, unless you put in a search or something, it's not easy to find that post again. But Quora lets your answers remain. So even after a period of 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, some people are reading it. Your questions also remain there. Somebody may be answering it. So those posts keep gathering views over a period of time. Now I'll give you a glimpse into the number of views that you can get. Now I happen to be a Quora top writer, and the number of views I have got in 5 years is 7.49 million. So this is close to 75 lakhs. And this is a number I've been seeing for the last 1 month or so. So I'm not sure whether this has been updated. It could be slightly higher. And at times what Quora does is it removes certain answers or things that it does not like. So that may have gone out of circulation also. And this is not only about answers, because the answers I have written may be around 6,000 or more, something like that. Even if you don't want to write that many, even if you are just posting questions, which I am very poor at. I have posted only 21 questions so far. And those 21 questions have attracted 56,000 views. Can somebody unmute and say good or bad?
Yep, it's awesome.
It's awesome.
So this is a platform which we should not ignore. We remain so stuck with Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram that we don't think about Quora, but this is the platform of tomorrow. You can start. It takes some time to grow. Nobody gets that within 6 months or something. You may not gather visitors. So start at some point. So when the boom is coming, you are present to encash that. Now, one question that may come up is, I have not seen the chat box, so I'll come to it on how do I sell? So I'll just come back to an old slide. See this one. If you read the last line here, we will find ways to get around this issue in the 4-day program on money personalities. Now, this is about how relationships affect your money management. And this was one of the 5 posts that I had put up before the program. So this last line is the place where you can invite people to register. If the registration link has to appear, then as I said, it has to come in the comment section. So this is very subtle selling. And don't write a post only to sell. Do a lot of knowledge posts, and of course, in 20% of them, you could be selling something, or you could just be writing about your website or contact us to know more. Whatever is your sales pitch, that can appear in the last line, because that is most important to us. On what do we gain by blogging? After all, it is not just number of views and likes and shares that we want to get. So this was about the various platforms. I'll just check the chat box and come to the questions. These are my profile links. You can take a screenshot, because if I post it in the chat box, it just disappears in some time. So if you have taken that, I'll stop sharing and I'll come to the question answers.
Yes, done.
Yeah. Anyway, I've stopped sharing. So no, I don't see any questions here. Does anybody has to ask something? Then please unmute yourself and speak.
Hello,
Yes.
myself Priyanka Bhatia, ma'am. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, ma'am. May I know a little bit again about the Quora that you told just 2 minutes ago? A little bit summary about on once again only just.
Quora is a question and answer platform where there are people
Okay.
who come and post questions, and you can go and write your answers to those questions. If you
But,
in the beginning, I advise you just read the answers, so you will see which ones are favored, which are the type of things which receive a higher number of views. And as I think from yesterday, somebody must have already emphasized, storytelling always works. You start with an example on something, you get a very large number of views. Quora has something called a Quora Digest, where it picks up the best posts from the week and it circulates to its viewers. It comes on your email ID. So it's an achievement if you can get into Quora Digest, because then that many more people are doing that. I happened to get one last week. It was good, but okay, you may not get too many, maybe max 10 in a year, not more than that, but that is a good way of getting circulation. So either you can post a question, you can write an answer, you can start a space, you can start posting your answers or your articles on some other space. You can become a contributor on somebody else's space.
okay, ma'am.
And the profile gives you a very wide view. You can write quite a lot on that. If you want to see, then I'll go live and share that screen. You want to get an idea of what the Quora profile looks like?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so just give me a moment to come on that screen. I was not logged in, so I need to do that. Yeah, I've got the screen.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Google.
Yeah, throw this on wash basin and keep it on near the stairs.
Is the
आराम
screen
से,
visible?
टूटना नहीं चाहिए. Yes, ma'am. Yes, this is visible.
Just in the Quora profile. Okay, now more. Now see the number of things I have been able to
Yes,
put in.
ma'am.
Does any other platform give you so much of space? Now here I have mentioned my space on the top, the WhatsApp group, the ebooks that I have on my website, LinkedIn profile, Instagram, Twitter, then
Yes, there are some links.
on Amazon, Flash Fiction, the other creative writing blog, online directory, whatever I have, almost everything is summed up here. So no other platform gives you the luxury of putting up such a huge profile. Because from here, people come here and then they are coming on to other platforms.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, this is also one of the way to put your article or whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's
There is
nice.
scope of putting in, but you can put articles only in spaces. Otherwise, the
Okay.
rest of it is question and answer.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah, thanks, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
I want to ask you something like the images that you have shown, right, on which we can write.
Yeah.
Some images have copyright issues also. So how can we how to decide which images we have to take?
Use free images. So the sites, well-known sites are Unsplash, Pixabay, Pexels. There are about 20, but if you just Google free pic sites, freepic.com is itself a site. So you can take images from there. If you go on Canva, Canva has got some free images and some paid. So the paid images have got pro on that written. So ignore those, because the moment you click on that, it will start asking you for a paid membership. But there is a lot of free content available. And then optimize the quality as you want it, change it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yes, somebody saying Pradnya. Yes, Pradnya. Okay, she has just joined. Can we use Quora for sourcing profiles? Selja, are you talking about recruitment? See, recruitment people may not always put up a LinkedIn-like profile on Quora. They project themselves in different ways. You know, there are 100 ways of describing yourself these days. Even LinkedIn has got those profiles saying woman and mother of two or something like that. I've never understood why people use it, but they use it. So you may not get an idea of what they do from Quora. If somebody has put up the entire LinkedIn profile there, it's good enough. Or if there is a link to the LinkedIn profile, you can go from that. If you're on one of the spaces, you can always put up a job post. People are very happy to see that. Job postings anywhere. Does that answer your question? Okay, yeah. Any other questions? So that's all from my side. I'll be happy to see you connected on my platforms, interacting more and reading your microblogs out there. Yeah, there is Namrata. Yes, if I start microblogging today, what should be the ideal posting schedule as in consistency, and how does one leverage the connection there to profitable sales? Ideal posting schedule, I think 3 in a week, 3 to 5 in a week should be enough. There is a lot of controversy on timing. Some people will say evening is good for LinkedIn and morning is good for Instagram or whatever. But learn that from experience, because all these are international platforms. So the people who are seeing your post come from different time zones. But something that just comes from experiences, like I learned from my experience, was whatever I post on Instagram around 5 p.m., between 5 to 6 p.m. works well. And Facebook pages works well at around 7:45 or 8 p.m. So because that depends on when your followers are coming online. So there are no standard rules, but with some trial and error, you can arrive at that. How does one leverage the connections there to profitable sales? Most of the platforms have got a direct messenger thing, whether it is LinkedIn or Facebook and all. So if you find someone who you think can connect to your business, so just send them a message. DM, what we call direct messaging. And then of course, connect with them offline. Do not do all your business discussions out there on the platform. Does that answer?
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yes.
Ma'am, generally, like this section was, about blogging and, bringing visibility in different platforms,
Yes.
isn't it? Generally, our perception is that in Quora, it is a platform for experts because they are asking questions, answering questions, and questions may be dumb or whatever, but people who are answering are the expert ones. That was at least my perception generally. But do you think, people also use this for visibility, just like in Facebook, Instagram, and other areas? and how far does it work
Of course,
for
for
visibility?
see the profiles. May I ask what do you do, Spurna?
No, I'm a doctor.
And for how many years have you been around?
No, I am a doctor. I for last 10 years, but
So
no, I'm like rarely answered in Quora. But that was my understanding. And online digital platform, I'm not so active. But now that I know we are all compelled, irrespective of our profession, we are all compelled to make social media as part of our thing.
Healthcare professionals are on the top. You will be flooded with questions once you are there. And I would also advise you to do Facebook Lives on your subject in the relevant groups.
Okay.
Because you see, Dr. KK Agarwal is one who almost does a live every day on this after this corona thing.
Okay.
He's a cardiologist by profession who got into holistic medicine. He's a family friend, so I happen to know more about him. He does at least a 5-minute live, if not more, answering one question. But he's there on Facebook and he's talking about how to deal with this crisis. Of course, cardiology and general health was always as there. But this thing and that kind of visibility that he has got, I have known him for years from a family contact, and now I see his posts coming on WhatsApp from random groups. And then I realized the reach he has achieved today.
But, sorry, whom are you talking about? Like, please come
Dr. KK Agarwal from Delhi.
Okay.
He's a cardiologist, basically doing more of holistic medicine.
Mhm.
Any other question?
Thank you. And do you think, if I start with Quora answering things, that will bring me, more credibility versus, my posts on my own website if I create one, or a Facebook profile? What do you think to start with? Which is the best place?
See, you do just a Google search on any subject from your medical field. And on the first or second page, you will obviously see a Quora answer somewhere. So the Quora reach is very high on search engines. So if you are there on Quora, you are reaching a higher number of people.
Okay, thank you so much.
Your visibility is certainly increasing with Quora.
Mhm.
And this is a subject very few people know about. So experts are certainly needed. There's a high demand for your professional competence.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. By the way, I'm an Ayurveda doctor, not conventional medicine.
Doesn't matter.
And
So that kind of health is what people have been doing in the last 8 months, no? Rather overdoing those kadas and other bits. So you can enlighten them how to go about it the right way.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Suparna. Good to know you. Spurna.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, ma'am. I'm coming again. Sorry to disturb you again.
Right.
Can I share my some? Hello. Yeah,
Yes.
actually, I was teacher earlier before the corona started. Then during the corona, I lost my job, and I'm right now I'm free from last 7-8 months. So there is a little bit financial crisis also. So I have started just 15-20 days ago. One of my friends suggested me for the online business of like dresses. Like every one is, so many ladies have started this thing because we don't need to go outside. So online business of dresses and kurtis, watches, bags, and all that. So I circulated my products to all the my links, like around 100 people. But yes, it just started. It's just the beginning period. So I understand it will take time. So earlier I was also like just 1 month ago I made my Facebook account, 1 month ago only. So just I want to know ki is these things help us for this, like everyone is posting so many things and all that. So what is the best place? Only I have started from the Facebook. Now how can I go far? Just
Are
little
you
I want.
something like the Meesho app? Something similar to Meesho?
Ma'am, I have gone through, but like Meesho is something like,
Just
yeah,
open
it's
up your own Shopify or Meesho. Okay.
yeah, I know about it, but I have not used it. I have know about it. It is also
Groups are the place where people are selling most. And Facebook
But-
is actually good for selling goods, not for services. If you're selling an item, you can always sell through Facebook groups. So WhatsApp and Facebook are the best for you. You could also, it will take time, but make an appearance on Pinterest. Because Pinterest is a kind of search engine which has images.
Okay.
So somebody
Okay.
likes the image and from there they will come to your site, wherever you are.
Okay. Pinterest. Okay. So I have to put the app
Yeah,
app of this.
Yeah, there's an app. It is mostly
Okay.
pictures. So put your most attractive products out there. If I just have to look
Okay.
for a design for a garment, I obviously come and go and see Pinterest, and then you can't download those images and other things. So there's the fear from
But that thing I can do. That thing I can do on Facebook also and in WhatsApp groups also.
You can. You must be already doing it from Facebook. Your things, your competitors take away your stuff very easily. Your ideas. Pinterest, that image cannot be downloaded.
Okay.
Just go on that, explore it. It will take around a year. Pinterest is not that easy, but it will help in the long run because
Okay, ma'am.
good stuff, the finer things, the good designs and art and garments, everything is out there.
Yeah, there are so many products. Okay, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Welcome.
Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Ritwik.
I'm from Pune. I'm just working in real estate since from the last month.
Yeah.
So I'm here used to handle Facebook pages and the Instagram pages.
Hmm.
So I daily post and the posters and the offers.
Hmm.
So how should I gain leads from the Facebook and the Instagram?
So you are basically a social media marketer.
Yeah, I didn't have any experience about it. I'm basically a graphic designer. I used to design the posters, online social media posters.
Not an expert on lead generation. You
Yeah.
can-
So how can I gain a lead?
Forum had done a session yesterday. She is the expert on lead generation.
Yesterday, ma'am, I just went to my village. There is no internet connection.
So that's okay. You can get in touch with Suju. You might
Okay.
be getting a recording, or you can just get her contact details.
Okay,
will
thank
have
you, ma'am.
Panel discussion also now. We will start it soon,
Yeah.
right? So in the panel discussion, you can ask these questions.
Okay. So shall we move on to the panel discussion, Suju?
Yeah. Yes, I think other speakers will also join now.
Okay. So if somebody
Before that, I
else
just
has
want to.
any other question?
I'll share this question. So I'll just post this URL again. So we got like 10 to 15 questions in the survey. So we can go through the survey questions first.
Where are
Before that,
the questions on the chat box or in the group, WhatsApp group?
I'll share the screen.
Okay, fine. So, okay, do I finish here? Thanks a lot for being a good audience, for the good attention, lot of stimulating questions. Hope to connect with you. Thank you.